bread. All I need is one brick.
Westside Gun did his thing, man. He did his thing. Mr. T meets Mr. Betrayal. Yo, the kids call me old timer. Why? Cause I'm shining. Brighter than Richard Hart's Black Diamond. Until the children put the guns down and stop wilding. They on demon time. You hear the police sirens? Fatherless kids and mothers who are childless. Some adults are ill-stricken and they're dying. You're not a man if you can't look them in the iris. HIV positive with the virus. The post-chain strain smothered in papyrus. And post-X will be more desirous. The cosmic designer structured my environment.
Tripods out of Teslas. Scrape the pots for the extras. Bodies dropping on the regular. Run laps around.
What's going on, everybody? You're now rocking with the Crypto Wonder, the Crypto Wonder podcast. And as always, hope you're doing well. Let's get right into it. And as always, I'm going to preface this by saying, man, oh man, there's never a dull moment in Pulse Chain. There's never a dull moment. Woo. Y'all keep me entertained, boy, I gotta tell you. Y'all keep me entertained. Now, Hex and Caicos. So, shout out to the fact that Karim is, he's out on bail. That's good. Being in good spirits. There's nothing like paying for your freedom. Isn't freedom expensive? Man, oh man. That's good. You have your wherewithal, you have your faculties, It seemed like he's in good spirits, which is fantastic. Heard him on a live stream with Maddie All In. And I gotta tell you, it was a very interesting stream. Very, very interesting. Once again, I don't know if it's this whole thing about the haters. If that's the easiest way you can identify perhaps people who may not clearly understand how you got into the position you got into, maybe it's not for people to understand. Maybe it's another thing you can add to the checkoff list about certain mysteries of life. But again, like I've expressed already with my content, like I don't know anybody on the internet well enough to hate them. Like that just requires too much from me to expend unnecessary amounts of energy hating someone. Like seriously, it's not that serious, and you're not that important. No one is that important on the internet for me to hate ever. And I'm not saying that I'm regarding as one, but I understand when you offer differences of opinion and critique, you'll be identified as an opposition, an antagonist, a contrarian, which I think is the most diplomatic, possibly non-offensive way you can call somebody who maybe is a troll, a concerned troll, or a hater. I don't know. What do I know? Nothing. Well, let's keep it moving. Mr. Karim, Mr. Bang Bang himself. Make sense? Sir, I think you at this point right now, you're talking too much. It's not about freedom of speech. It's not about censorship, right? It's not about any of that. It's about being smart. I don't know you, bruh. Like I said, I don't know these people, but this is somebody who I shook hands with and I took pictures with. Introduce you to my loved ones. Like, you know, when they're asking me questions about certain things, and I just feel compelled to just say that sometimes less is more. And I don't know if he knows how to do that. I don't think he knows how to just not speak, or only speak when necessary in a way. It's especially if you're in a position where you're fighting a case, right? You have friends who assisted you, who care about you well enough to provide money to get you out of a bad situation. Have your friends given you some good counsel, not by way of attorney, but to at least speak to you and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't really be online espousing a lot of information about things and your ideas and thoughts and stuff, even though the world may want to know, but the world also has to understand that you're not in a position to freely carry on like you were before you were thrown in jail in a foreign land outside the US. Like, maybe people can't help but help themselves. But you have, I don't know, man. I think sometimes I'm wasting my time even talking. Like this right now, I feel like is an absolute waste of time. And I'm not looking for attention. It's just something just rang inside me real quick and just said, you know what, don't even bother. People have also shared with me, like, I'm sharing a lot of good information for free. And it made me think twice. Like, I think I'm gonna take my advice that I used to say before and dial back. Right? The game is to be sold, not told. When you're given free game, people disrespect it. They misuse it, disregard it altogether, ignore it. Right? Believe it's non-applicable. Even though in this case, young man, sometimes, like, people like to say in this community, STFU. You might have to take heed to that. Like, really be quiet. Stop talking about your situation. Even though everybody may want to know, give clear, I guess, I don't know, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an attorney. And the way it's looking, you're not a US citizen, so certain things it's just a little bit different. You gotta deal with different situations and parameters and all these things. And when you're online trying to explain yourself and justify and sort of like kind of taunt people you acknowledge as haters and that, bro, you put yourself in this situation, not the haters. You put yourself in that situation. It has nothing to do with haters. The fact that people may sound like they're hating is not that they're hating necessarily, and I can't speak for all haters. Like, for me, again, it's not that I'm hating. I'm wondering, like, what have you learned from all this? What can you imagine you could have done differently in this situation where you could have avoided this, right? Because I'm not going to put this on you and say, oh, if this happens again, because I wouldn't wish that on anyone, for them to relive extreme stupidity. No. But what could you have done differently to address, to avoid this serious mistake that's causing you to face potential, what you said, 13 months, 8 to 13 months behind bars, or even up to 12 years? He's talking about 2021, Orange 21, like you're referring to 3 years ago. Why? Because you made it very public how things were for you, not only 3 years ago, but within the last 3 years, up until the stream, from what I understand, the latest Pulse Chain stream, Pulse Chain conference, right? That was done this year. I believe it was in June of this year, 2024. It's not just about what you were doing in 2021. It was what you were doing these past 3 years. Where you've indicated yourself that you spent upwards of $60,000 a month partying. Now, how can you be confused or dismiss the fact that people would really naturally scratch their heads and ask questions as to why, how, and for what reason did you get yourself in a position where you need to end your investments, incur penalties, which is your right, your business. Reach out to people who publicly made an announcement to show the world that you needed support. Why couldn't this be done behind the scenes? You understand? Like, it begs the question, many questions, but it also sort of like allows me to see that maybe you don't have friends as you may want the world to believe you do, or like maybe you weren't thinking enough or clear. You panicked and said, thought about and agreed that the idea to ask for help publicly on the timeline and the internet would help you. When I'm pretty sure the same people you party with that's from the community over these last few years, the same people who helped could have probably helped you behind the scenes. Could have helped you behind the scenes too. In some media circles, in some industry online and entertainment, they would look at this as some type of clout chasing situation. Like, why are you doing this? It's for attention. Sure, I get it. You need help. You're panicking, whatever. But at the same time, understand the ramifications and how wide this can go. Understand? Like, you're now in a position where you have to fight for your freedom, or fight a case. I'm not gonna say for your freedom because you're out on bail, but ultimately, you're fighting for your freedom. You're fighting a case, right? So you're being investigated. You're under some type of watchful eye, right? And maybe people who used to rock with you or party with you, who may not have anymore, maybe they didn't want to be next to you because you became too hot. And And maybe those that did help you, don't care, which is cool, because I guess that's what friends are for. But they're putting themselves on the line for you. They're putting themselves on the line for you. You know how many people I've known, even here in the States, have gotten in trouble? They had to pay high bails where family members had to put up their own homes just to post bail, put up their own entire homes. So to tout and espouse, these things as far as like how you were, spending your money and how you have haters and this and that, and if you weren't doing anything good, you wouldn't have haters. That is completely irrelevant to the situation here. It's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Because at this point, it's about a personal moment for you to reflect, deep level of reflection and introspection, to learn from this. Not to get on a podium and basically sort of like sound off. Like, what is it that you're sounding off against? Because again, who really hates you? Nobody. I can't. Who sees you so important where they hate you? I can see people hating Richard Hart more than I can see people hating you, Karim. Why are you someone that people are hating? And I get it. Folks have their own petty, insignificant issues, and it might be identified as hate, sure. But let's be serious here. Let's be serious. At this point, it's a part of a thing where you've become content. Your life, unfortunately, because you put it on the internet, it's become content to entertain people on the internet. Unfortunately, your situation, your difficult and ugly plight, your unfortunate bout, right, with the law enforcement from Turks and Caicos, has become a source of entertainment for an innumerable amount of people online. And you're talking about things that don't even have anything to do with anything that people who are curious may want to know. And it's not even your business or their business to want to know, but of course you put your information out there, so folks are going to ask questions. You put your information out there looking for help, so people are going to criticize, right? Because the obverse of all this could have been, you could have taken care, possibly, maybe not, we'll never know. But maybe if things were handled privately, your life wouldn't be that much more exposed. Where you have loved ones, where you're talking about, you're glad your mother doesn't know about this. You have family members concerned about around the world, like friends, and this is what's going on. Did you do this for clout? Because that's what it looks like, and it's terrible if for even when the other guy that's no longer in the community used to talk about optics. The optics matter in this situation so much so that it's almost expected for you to talk online, because you put yourself in a position where you receive money from people, and now you're expected to work to give the money back. So it's in a reverse way now. You have to entertain, you know, play the game a certain way. All because of the mess you got yourself in. There's enough obstacle and adversarial nature that you know, perceive that you might feel that is out there. You think that there's haters and Instagram people are hating on you because you were partying and dancing. Not necessarily, but you know, there's enough of that you have to deal with. But you just increase that, maybe because, I don't know, you feel like, I don't know, maybe it's important and necessary for you to talk your business on the internet. Like, you know, when you talk about community, it's a handful of people in the community, or a group of people in the community. Hopefully the people that really had your back by giving money to help you come out on bail will have your back too, and tell you, listen, you might want to just maybe chill and not really give up so much information, because I don't know if the laws apply over there, but over here is, you know, anything that we say can and will be used against us in the court of law in America. I don't know if that applies in Turks and Caicos, and I also understand that you're not a U.S. citizen, so I don't know. But this is about common sense, because I'm not going to pretend like everybody else, just because you're not an American, that they don't apply, that they don't use common sense. I'm talking about other government systems and law enforcement, judicial systems throughout the world, huh? Even though corruption exists. But we're not talking about that right now. I mean, at some point, you got to use your head, man. You want to talk about strategy? I don't see any better time, much better time for you to like really become very tactical, strategic, in helping you improve your situation, not making it worse by speaking online and talk about extra stuff that I mean, come on now. Celebrate after you fight the case. Who does this? Who you know? Who's gonna be braggadocious in a way? Who's gonna lack humility online, right? You talk about, you know, this and that, but you know, I don't see any type of remorse, right? You know, I could see, let me be fair, you did get emotional, you know, when you were speaking about how people you didn't expect to reach out reached out. You know, you had your moment online when you did seem like, you know, it was it hit you, you know, emotionally. And I get that. I get that. I don't see any type of regret, any flow of any type of emotional transference or anything coming from you that just sees that just shows that you're deeply sorry. And maybe that's not your personality, and maybe I shouldn't see that. But you're on the internet. Maybe behind the scenes you've shown it, but you're on the internet, the same place that you know, had your people call for help. Like, this is, do it. If you're gonna show it completely across the board. If you're gonna be out in the public, then, you know, carry on. Do what you have to do. Full tilt. Don't just like, I mean, come on, man. You're not in a position to be braggadocious and super proud and lack humility. This is where I've said enough, you know, but you know, I've said enough. This is people, man, and this is a situation where the man says, why does it matter for you to say right now that you would die believing in Hex 55? That has nothing to do with you fighting for your freedom right now. Who are you pandering to? You're pandering to Hexicans who no longer talk about 55-55. You're pandering to a group of people who don't speak about delayed gratification. You're talking about, you would die for believing in hex. That's all great, but you're speaking to people who supported you, and the people, quote unquote, who have supported you have said that they will continuously dump their hex tokens after they stake on every Hexican's heads. The same people, the same support you got has that energy, because the same people who have got on stream themselves and even on the internet, on timelines, social media platforms, and said that you might believe or die hard, but have also told the world that the same hex that they've acquired through staking, they will dump at a moment's notice. They will continuously dump on the heads of everyone who came after them for years to come until their stakes run out. So what are you proving? It's like your energy is a little bit misguided. Maybe the 16 days you were in jail, you need to take a break and really refresh your mind and have this like level to have a clear perspective and rest and create a better plan for yourself than to go online and talk crap. I'm nobody out here. You don't have to listen to me. It just, I kind of like, I'm observing some things that are just quite not connecting. The pieces of the puzzle, of your puzzle in this situation, are not really connecting. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like the kids say, like the youth say, people in your generation, you millennial, like y'all say, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I'm going to say it one last time. You talk about how much conviction you have for hex, and that's great. But you're telling that to a group of people who no longer care, because they'd say they would dump at a moment's notice for years to come. And that's it. Take care.